my dad grew up, and growing up, my dad always told me about this experience going to Brooklyn Tech. He told me about what his life was like, where as a teenager, he got up and left his apartment at 5 o'clock in the morning every day to get onto the 6 train or to get onto the 4 train and ride a very dangerous subway during the 70s at 15 years old to go to Brooklyn Tech because it was seen as his only opportunity to have a dignified life. And he loved his experience at Brooklyn Tech because he went to a good school. My question is, why are there only 5 or a handful of schools in New York City that are seen together as well? And my question is, why isn't every public school in New York City a Brooklyn Tech caliber school? My appeal to what I'm hearing, and I respect the concern, because we need to put our children first. And so I understand the concern. But my concern, I'd be happy to engage with these folks. My concern is that this right here, when we're fighting each other, is exactly what happens under a scarcity mindset. Because this should not be the fight. This should be the fight. This should not be the fight.
This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez handing a heckler in a refreshing way, because her reaction isn't to dunk on or humiliate them or even refute them at all, but point out that they're on the same team. And while she's speaking here about the quality of schools in her district in New York, the ideas that she's speaking about can be applied on a grand scale. Instead of saying, this little slice is where all the opportunity is, how do I get a piece of that? How do I get my hands on a crumb? We should be asking how we replicate that on a citywide, a statewide, a national scale. And it's that mindset of actually being able to identify with the people that she represents instead of twisting some policy position into knots to bring people on board. That's why she's so effective. And it's why Republicans are afraid of her, because of her ability to tell the truth in a way that people can understand. This is what it looks like when our politicians engage on policy and represent positions that they believe are in the best interest of the people, as opposed to, for example, a Republican Party that's once again running on these tired, old guard issues like abortion. And that's because they're not able to run on their policies now. They're not able to bring up the devastatingly unpopular tax bill, or their votes to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, or their repeal of net neutrality, or their staunch defense of fossil fuels. But those politicians were never acting in the best interest of the American people. They were always acting in the best interest of their re-election campaigns. And so while there had always been a disconnect between Washington and the rest of America, that isn't the case with this new class of freshman Democrats. Because as AOC was quick to point out,
this should not be the fight.